Welcome back to day 21 of our course. Today, we're taking those CI/CD concepts you already know inside and out, and, well, we're pushing them into what is absolutely the most stubborn, anxiety-inducing part of your entire tech stack. Yep, the data layer. We're talking Database DevOps and DataOps. It's time to take the principles that made your software delivery lightning fast and apply them directly to where your state actually lives. Let's figure out how to stop treating the database like some fragile antique and start treating it like the modern automated engine it really needs to be.
Okay, so let's kick off this explainer with a question that probably haunts your late-night deployments. Why is it that deploying application code feels so incredibly fast and automated, but updating the database feels, well, utterly terrifying? You know the feeling, right? It's late on a Friday, your containers spin up in seconds, you're ready to celebrate, and then the database migration just hangs. You're sitting there staring at a blinking cursor, sweating, wondering if you just locked a production table and brought down the whole app. You've automated your code, but when the database falls behind in staging, the whole system just grinds to a halt. It's a massive point of friction for pretty much every engineering team.
So here's our roadmap for conquering this stateful bottleneck. First, we'll look at the bottleneck itself. Then, introduce Database DevOps, figure out how to eradicate Schema Drift, shift our mindset to DataOps, and finally, build out some Agile analytics pipelines. Let's get right into it.
Number 1. The stateful bottleneck. Why exactly is the database such a uniquely difficult beast to tame?
And think about application delivery today. It's honestly like a rocket ship. Application CI/CD is fast, automated, stateless, and incredibly low risk. If a deployment fails, you literally just spin down the container, reroute the traffic, and boom, you're back to safety in milliseconds. But your database? That's more like a horse-drawn carriage dragging a massive, heavy vault of state behind it. Traditional updates are manual, they're super risky, inherently stateful, and so prone to environment differences. The two speeds just do not match up at all. And that friction between the stateless app and the stateful database, it's immense.
Because the data layer holds state, meaning your actual valuable customer data, our natural instinct is to be super cautious. We handle it manually, we wrap it in red tape, and we delay it till the very end of the release cycle because, let's face it, you can't easily undrop a column. But software architect Neil Ford argues we should do the exact opposite. He says we need to bring the pain forward, meaning if a task is tough or painful or risky, don't put it off until release night. Tackle those tough tasks early. Foster automation enables swift issue detection. We've got to automate those database changes early in the pipeline instead of treating them as this terrifying afterthought.
Which brings us to part 2, introducing Database DevOps. This is the structural solution to all that friction we just talked about.
By definition, Database DevOps means we're taking those DevOps and CI/CD principles and applying them directly to our database operations. We're integrating schema changes, migrations, even reference data right into version-controlled automated pipelines. Think of it as GitOps, but for your schema. We have to stop making these ad hoc manual tweaks in a production console. Instead, we start treating database definitions exactly like application code, putting them under strict version control to entirely eliminate all that manual guesswork.
In practice, this workflow actually becomes completely seamless. First step, you version control your schema definitions right alongside your app code. Second, the pipeline automatically kicks in and applies migration validation tests in an isolated, ephemeral database. And third, only after those tests pass does it actually deploy changes through the CI/CD pipeline. So you commit, the pipeline tests, and then it deploys. It takes a theoretical best practice and turns it into a very real, tangible safety net that catches errors way before they ever see the light of production.
Okay, moving to part 3, eradicating Schema Drift. Now that we have the pipeline, we have to hunt down the ultimate enemy of database reliability. Schema Drift. It's a phrase that literally strikes fear into the hearts of ops teams everywhere. It happens when manual configurations cause staging or testing environments to fall behind or totally diverge from production. Imagine someone manually tweaks an index in staging just to test a slow query, forgets to document it, and never commits the change. Suddenly, your test environment isn't an accurate reflection of reality anymore, and that is going to create a massive diagnostic headache down the line.
Just picture this scenario. Your staging app is running version 2.4.1, but the database is somehow lagging way back at version 1.0.9 because a manual update script got missed during a refresh. Meanwhile, production is perfectly synced up at application version 2.4.0 and database version 2.0.0. If a bug magically only appears in production and not in staging, this kind of environment mismatch is almost always the culprit. This lack of parity, driven by a lack of infrastructure as code, is exactly what triggers those devastating deployment failures.
So how do we fix this permanently? Well, high-performing teams rely on a few specific practices. They implement infrastructure as code, IAC, to ensure every single environment is spun up identically. They rigorously enforce database version control so every change is tracked and auditable. They automate rollback triggers based on application health checks. And, this is key, they heavily monitor DORA metrics, specifically the change failure rate, which tracks how often a deployment blows up and requires an immediate fix. Elite teams don't just report on that metric. They use it as a diagnostic tool to make sure the data layer isn't the hidden root cause of their deployment failures.
Let's transition to part 4, the shift to DataOps. We've talked about the micro-mechanics of schemas, so let's zoom out to the macro philosophy of managing your entire analytics lifecycle.
What exactly is DataOps? It's taking that silo-breaking, continuous improvement mindset of DevOps and applying it to the massive, totally chaotic volumes of data flowing through your organization. It's an agile methodology combining an integrated, process-oriented perspective on data with heavy automation. The whole goal? Improve the quality, speed, and collaboration of your analytics. Just like DevOps revolutionized software delivery by forcing devs and ops to work together, DataOps forces data engineers, data scientists, and business stakeholders into that exact same continuous improvement loop.
Industry expert Toph Whitmore really hits the nail on the head here. He points out that we need to completely change how we look at data pipelines. We have to treat them like a lean manufacturing pipeline. He advises that we establish progress and performance measurements at every stage of the data flow. You can't just cross your fingers and hope the data is accurate by the time the CEO opens a dashboard on Monday morning. Every single stage has to be measured, automated, and benchmarked for cycle times, just like parts moving down an assembly line.
Which perfectly sets up our final section, number 5, Agile Analytics Pipelines. How do we actually build these in the real world?
To meet those strict manufacturing-level standards, we build on 4 pillars. First, utilizing statistical process control, or SPC. That's really just a fancy way of saying we constantly mathematically monitor the data flowing through the system for any weird deviations. Second, we automate data pre-boarding and ingestion. Third, we identify bottlenecks based on those benchmarks we just mentioned. And fourth, this one's absolutely crucial, we implement continuous improvement human feedback loops. Whitmore calls this the eyeball test. Automation is great, but applying critical human feedback loops is what actually builds the trust that consumers desperately need in their data.
The real beauty of this is what happens when things go wrong. When an anomaly inevitably occurs, say a massive unexpected spike in null values or a totally broken ingestion stream, your DataOps pipeline catches it automatically through that statistical process control. The analytics team gets an automated alert right away. You aren't sitting around waiting days for an angry end user to complain about a broken report. Your pipeline catches the bad data mid-flight, sounds the alarm, and drastically reduces your mean time to recovery.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own projects and ask yourself one final question. Is your data layer a terrifying liability, or is it your fastest automated asset? Because mastering Database DevOps and DataOps, getting those schemas under strict version control, and treating your data pipelines like highly tuned lean manufacturing systems, that is exactly what separates good engineers from the truly elite ones. Make your data layer work for you, not against you. Master this, and you eliminate the biggest bottleneck in modern software delivery.